Hi, welcome to Feature Fridays. My name is Guy Bartram. I'm Director of Product Marketing for our cloud providers at VMware, and I'm joined today by Darren from Redcentric. So welcome, Darren. Let's start with a little introduction. Tell me about yourself and a little bit about Redcentric, please.
Well, hi Guy, and hi everybody on the call. Yeah, I'm Darren Adcock. I'm the product manager for a number of the cloud services at Redcentric, including our sovereign cloud services that run on the VMware platform. Redcentric are a UK-based, UK-owned service provider organisation with a long track record serving customers across multiple industries, including public sector, finance, banking, and all of those you'd expect to see.
Thanks, Darren. So Redcentric's been a partner with VMware for quite a few years now, and grown your VMware cloud to recently becoming a sovereign cloud provider, and recognized by VMware as providing sovereign services. But today I wanted to zoom into VMware Cloud Foundation and talk about how you guys have changed your views and your capabilities of the infrastructure, the actual kind of underlying compute network and storage, and how that's benefited Redcentric and your customers. So can you tell us a little bit about the type of clouds that you guys offer to start with, and what specifically those components look like from VMware?
Yeah, sure. I mean, we've been running VMware cloud platforms for a long time in Redcentric, and in fact, due to a number of acquisitions in the last 2 years, we actually have a lot more of them, as well as some cloud infrastructures not based on VMware. And it's fair to say we have some VCF, but we also have a lot of, I guess, what I would describe as roll your own, where we've basically taken the various components, including vSphere, a bit of vSAN, some NSX, and then rolled them on top of varying infrastructures. And that could be a combination of multiple underlying technologies, server hardware, storage hardware, even network hardware. So for us now, we're very much into a consolidation phase, such that we can drive the same benefits across all of those estates using VCF as we have where we've used VCF previously. And the other key part for us is, that's going to give us an element of scalability and efficiency because we'll be using a common stack. That's before we even start to think about the efficiency gains with the lifecycle management built into VCF. And of course, finally, it's the ongoing platform for us to then start offering high-level services out to all of our customers, not just the ones on the VCF stack today.
Yeah, and of course, a lot of service providers, I mean, everyone in the VMware community, is obviously running VMware vSphere, and typically providers have kind of run vSphere. They've run Cloud Director on top, providing multi-tenancy. Obviously, NSX comes into play then. vSAN is often a kind of a stumbling block for service providers who have maybe made investments into their storage already and don't want to have that kind of disaggregated storage capability. How's Redcentric dealt with kind of storage from a product and like you say, that consolidation kind of viewpoint?
Well, I mean, we come from a very similar place in terms of, yes, we have some environments using vSAN, but like most service providers, we also have external storage, layered on with computer network with a vSphere environment on top of it, not necessarily using vSAN. For us, the benefits of vSAN are really around that ease of provisioning, being able to, enabling our customers even, not just ourselves, to be able to provision stuff very quickly, very consistently. And also, as the basis for things like Tanzu containers, etc., without vSAN making that easy, in fact, without NSX making that easy, it becomes almost, well, what's the point of trying to automate it? You're kind of back to old school build as you go days. And that doesn't seem sensible in today's world when you have the automation capabilities there. And vSAN really underpins a lot of that to such a major extent. And it's easier. You're not dealing with multiple API calls out to different storage vendors when you want to provision something new. It's just done. It's just easy.
Yeah. And you mentioned consolidation, right? And consolidation from acquisitions that you guys have made as well. And I'm sure this is a very familiar story with lots of providers, certainly providers I speak to, a number of them have gone through various acquisitions over the years. Kind of in the last couple of years, I would say there's been more acquisitions than there has been previously. How's that affected? Obviously, if you're bringing on these kind of new disparate environments, you need to bring them in operationally and standardize them. could you have done that without using a VCF kind of footprint? What benefit did VCF bring in that kind of consolidation viewpoint?
Yeah, it certainly would have been a lot harder.
Right.
You know, as soon as you start introducing things like vSAN, then immediately you're abstracting the underlying hardware from a hypervisor down, from a vCloud director out kind of perspective. So that immediately helps us offer a consistent service across different customers, even whilst we're in that transitionary period from moving from a kind of hybrid vSAN with the component parts, and then eventually all the way in. So the component parts are the right ones. The component parts into a consolidated platform that's that's so easy to maintain via the lifecycle management. It's a bit of a no-brainer for us to just use that as the way as we go forward. So we've made a significant investment in HCI with vSAN, built on VCF 5. In fact, 5.1 we recently upgraded to, and we'll be migrating all of the customers that we currently have on the other platforms over time into that new infrastructure. So not only are they getting the benefit of VCF, but the investments we've made, they're also going to get the benefit of the sort of latest and greatest underlying HCI nodes. So performance and throughput is going to be even better as well, beyond just, and that's beyond the gains that you get with vSAN. Recently, there's obviously been some really significant performance gains from the latest versions of vSAN. So that, together with our investment, is having an even greater effect.
And I guess this is also saving you money from, when you look at these acquisitions to bring those new environments in from a resources perspective. How's that affected Redcentric? Have you had to get more operational teams involved up to speed, or are you just using your existing resources and scaling it out easier?
So it's a bit of both. But the good news is that from all of the acquisitions, there was a core of VMware knowledge that came across with all of them, and that's no surprise. But VMware's everywhere. So the fact that each of those service providers had some knowledge of it is really not a surprise at all. Obviously, not all of them were familiar with VCF, so there has been a bit of a learning curve on that. But with the personnel we already had that were very strong in VCF, a combination of sharing of knowledge, sharing of experience, getting the guys involved in the new build, so a wider team actually is getting exposure. And then we also have a very strong education program that is kind of still running and will be running on an ongoing basis. So we're very much committed to the VMware as a strategic partner, and we do have a big education program that is, as I say, it's an ongoing. That'll be a life cycle of its own, in all honesty.
Yeah, so well, first of all, thank you for your partnership. I mean, it's been great to see the partnership evolve and Redcentric grow and start delivering more varied services. And like you say, now normalizing that architecture and consolidating the model into something that's more sustainable operationally and more sustainable from a performance perspective, deduplication as well with vSAN. There's all sorts of other benefits. And I think it's kind of, when I look at it and I look at service providers out there today, doing vSphere, doing NSX, doing a bit of vSAN, perhaps, maybe not, but doing some vSAN, they've already got the knowledge in the components. That they seem to be doing a lot of this stuff, DIY, like you were saying, roll your own. Awfully problematic from a life cycle perspective, from a maintenance perspective. How's the kind of experience been with moving into from a DIY approach to where you would use some sort of architectural specification, a VMware validated solution or something, to now being hyper converged, basically life cycle patching and maintenance and upgrades becomes really a click-through operation. Is that the reality? What's your recent? We mentioned recent upgrade from 5 to 5.1. How did that go?
Well, it was incredibly straightforward. I mean, I think the word I would use with kind of benefit of all of that is velocity. We're able to move so much faster as a result of moving to this converged infrastructure, VMware validated with VCF. Everything is quicker for us to achieve. So, building out a new environment, expanding an environment, it's just become so much easier. And VCF is such a core reason for that. The lifecycle management in particular is an absolute boon. I go back a long way. I remember the pain of Microsoft hardware compatibility lists, and the amount of pain and effort that took. And VCF kind of takes all that away when you're kind of refreshing your hardware or making changes. So it's a massive improvement.
And have you found that it's met every kind of cloud model that you want? Obviously, you've got your multi-tenanted cloud VCD, you've got software and dedicated isolated VCF instances as well. Has it managed to kind of fit into all those environments as a consistent infrastructure?
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, it's the other real driver to do it is not just that kind of for us getting efficient, but also to be able to offer services out to all those customers. Obviously, very secure environments. You have some additional hoops to jump through in terms of how you can do things. But the key for those is always automation. If you can automate security in. And that's obviously very key across every estate. And the fact that we have some very very sensitive data on board is even more so for them. I guess the other thing as well is all of those verticals are looking to modernize. We're seeing demand for containers, Kubernetes. We're seeing demand for Kafka. And these things, yes, they're open source. We have skills on board in Redcentric to be able to build and support these things. But if we can start using Tanzu built on VCF to automate that, then again, our whole customer experience gets better. We get more efficient. We can scale higher. We can therefore push out our services at a price point that's attractive in the market.
I guess it allows you to kind of focus more as product management, to focus more on product development and new product offerings that you can bring to market, because your ops teams aren't as tied up in kind of day-to-day stuff.
Oh, absolutely. We got some clever people, and actually having them doing some work that really inspires them, as opposed to being another day's hard graft at the cliff face, is a boon to them. And staff retention is equally important. If we can actually offer our personnel not just a career path, but a career path with interesting work, then they're going to stay and they're going to be happy and they're going to stay productive. So that's good for us.
That's a nice outcome. I didn't think about that, actually. So VCF allows your ops teams to focus on the stuff that they really want to focus on, rather than the stuff they don't want to focus on.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. And speaking about the stuff that you really want to focus on, I know you were in Barcelona and Explore. And what was your outcomes and take homes from that as an organization?
Well, firstly, it was a great event. We had a large attendance from Redcentric across both our sales teams, our CTO, product teams, and indeed some of our technical engineers, our lead engineers. And everybody got something out of it in one way or the other. The lead technical engineers had gained a huge amount of knowledge by attending various workshops and labs. From my perspective, it was great to actually engage our CTO in discussions with VMware and VMware execs. And for our sales team, again, for the sales guys to actually really see the scope and breadth of VMware Explore is kind of useful, because sometimes I think sales they can be so kind of, I guess, head down on the opportunity that they fail to take that step back and realize just what a key provider VMware is for us, because they just how much of our service stack that is underpinned by VMware, and that kind of underpins it. When you see 8,000 plus delegates attending an event, then clearly VMware are doing something right, and that just helps our sales guys when they're talking to customers to explain, look, everybody's using this. We've chosen it because it's a rock solid product. We've chosen it because it's the best one out there in this space. So you can be assured that what we're delivering to you is built on the absolute best of breed.
Yeah, enterprise grade stuff. And I guess the private AI, all those solutions that are coming down the line, they're all reliant on VCF, reliant on that underlying infrastructure there. So was that another take home for you, like looking at the private AI architectures?
Yeah, I mean, our CTO in particular is already looking at using AI extensively internally. So there's a few initiatives that he's actually already kicked off, and they're up and running. And the kind of approach there is let's get good at ourselves internally. understand the sort of pros, cons, how to run it best, those kind of gotchas. And then have the, as a result of that learning, something that we can take to market that we know is market ready, not only in terms of the technology, but also in terms of the service wrap and the way we're monitoring it, the way we're managing it, to make sure that it's doing what it needs to do for our customers.
Yeah, it's an interesting space. I see there's a kind of a new opportunity for our CSPs coming out of this with AI ML operations. When businesses do start using this in anger, and when it inevitably will have ups and downs and go wrong, the consequences can be fairly serious if you're very reliant on something like that. So actually having a decent operational support team behind you who understands it in detail is going to be really, really important for businesses.
Yeah, and I think we've seen already some of the benefits internally. So, kind of machine learning for monitoring, for example.
Yeah, of course.
Anomaly detection. So, rather than the kind of classic storage threshold, it's 80%. It's time to kind of raise an alarm. You're now looking at what's the normal storage growth rate? What is it today? Oh, is that going to break over the weekend or within 2 months? What's my trend prediction? I mean, that's just a very easy one. But and then that's the core. Machine learning to know what normal looks like, and then be able to flag when an abnormal condition exists is really important to us in terms of being able to manage those services better for our customers.
Yeah, I mean, even at the kind of the data center, air conditioning and energy kind of consumption and optimization kind of areas, there's lots of AI tools coming out now which I'm sure service providers are going to massively benefit from, bring down your costs and making you more green at the same time.
It's interesting you mentioned sustainability earlier. I was kind of going to pick up then, but
okay.
You've neatly come back to the subject. Yes, the compliance packs for sustainability and carbon footprint are really important to us as an organisation. They're important to our customers as well. We've made our net zero commitments as an organisation, and obviously you've got to prove you're doing it. You've got to track your progress against that. And similarly, our customers now, every time now we engage with a customer, that whole green score, carbon reduction subject is always front and centre now. I've not seen a customer kind of issuing an RFP for some time now that didn't at least have some mention of net neutral. So those compliance packs are going to be really useful in demonstrating that to our customers and also allowing them to demonstrate it to their shareholders.
Yeah, and then they're going to go and improve. I mean, the rear operations compliance packs are always being iterated, and new things are coming in as service providers want more and have more equipment to monitor, and also as legislation changes. I mean, we've got the CSRD, which is coming in next year. These are going to become really important things for particularly finance and other industries to kind of look at and be reporting on.
Yeah.
All right, Darren. So in summary, then you guys have gone from being a provider of VMware with more kind of bespoke, customized environments to now having a clear consolidated architecture, hyper-converged architecture on VCF, which is your go-forward underlying infrastructure, if you like, for many of your different cloud environments. And you've seen some great benefits from that already, which I think as well, by the sounds of things, there's more benefits to come as well, like in terms of your resourcing and freeing up resources, as you said, staff retention, which is particularly important at the moment, especially in our kind of economy that we're in today. And hopefully, bring in new solutions as well, as they come to bear in VCF with VMware.
Absolutely. We're seeing, ongoing demand from our customers. So anything that gives us a good foundation and an ability to move quicker, accommodate those customers' requirements quicker is always going to be good for us and our customers. VCF is absolutely foundational in that for sure.
And just actually before we finish up, let's just talk a little bit about your customers, because I know obviously you're a sovereign provider. You provide a lot of blue light services as well, so emergency services. What sort of scale are we talking about here for customers? I mean, how does it range from the small to the large, and how does VCF kind of fit into that?
So I mean, we have some fairly small businesses, running maybe 4 or 5 VMs onto a VCF stack, all the way up to, we have some large commercial organizations running several hundred virtual machines on a VCF stack, and obviously we'll be, looking to modernize to use, more of the modern application development features that we can introduce. And then we have some critical national infrastructure systems that are huge. To give you a view, we host the National ANPR service, which is used by all 43 law enforcement agencies. So that's police forces, border forces, and a few others as well. There's an interesting thing about the word hyperscale. What is hyperscale? Well, I'd say 73 billion pictures is fairly hyperscale. And that's what we're storing on a VMware infrastructure for one of our customers.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, that's significant, and that's not 73 billion stationary pictures. That's growing all the time.
It is growing all the time, absolutely. Yeah. And because of the nature of the data and the sensitivity of the data and the rules and regulations, it is growing despite the fact that there is a strict retention period on all those pictures.
Yeah.
So every day 100 million plus come in, and every day 100 million or less are falling off. So that in itself it does represent some challenges in terms of how to manage that, but we've been able to work through those, and we've got a system that's very important to national security and safety. So we're very proud of that.
Yeah, I mean, you got, 46 million odd vehicles in the UK on the roads daily. Yep. That's a significant, number plate recognition is a huge technological evolution, with cameras now being absolutely everywhere and being NPR capable, particularly like ULEZ or things like that in London.
Yes.
I mean, you've rolled out, 76,000 new cameras, much to Londoners' disapproval, but
yeah, well, TfL as well, they've got a significant number. Yeah. And interestingly enough, the most highly densely populated area in the world, as it happens, for cameras per square kilometre or square mile, is actually Stratford.
Wow. Okay.
And that dates back to the Olympics, where obviously there was a perceived threat of maybe a security incident, and one of the answers there was to basically flood the area with cameras to give you, the best possible chance of intercepting something before it could happen. So it's a little known fact, but yes, if you want to be photographed, take a drive around Stratford.
Yeah. Or is there any chance you can remove a number plate from that system?
I would probably be in a lot of trouble if I did, but you're not the first person to ask.
I'm sure. Listen, Darren, it's been lovely to chat to you, and I wish you guys all the luck on ongoing development with your VCF estate and your VMware cloud services that you provide. Thanks a lot for your time today and explaining it to us.
Well, you too, Guy. Thanks very much.
Cheers.
Bye.